Donald Trump's holding a town hall with Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Michigan, and something just took place. We might cover other parts of this, but we have to dedicate, right after it happened, a full segment to him having a serious brain glitch moment. A big topic of conversation, especially now that he's running against Harris, no longer Biden, in the media, understandably so, is Trump's cognitive decline. And it's moments like this one, in addition to many, many others, that are leading to that. Again, Trump in Michigan. And take a look at take a listen to what he says, and then I'll explain why it's wild.
Displaced by a lot, but we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including Russia. And we would have been so dominant in energy. We didn't need any energy from anybody. We didn't have to protect any other countries in order to get their oil, which we've done for many years in the Middle East. We were energy independent. Sounds so beautiful to say it. We're energy independent.
I'll address all this after we get past the big moment.
We were soon going to be energy dominant, and we would have been now having so much money coming out of the energy. We just have the best. We have Bagram in Alaska. They say it might be as big, might be bigger than all of Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this. Between Bagram, you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up. We should have that air base. We should have that oil. We would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest military air base in the world, and they left it in the dark of
Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Okay. So, since this is your first time hearing this, you might also be getting sort of confused. Wait, what is he saying? Because he's so frantically jumping back and forth. For a second there, he kept asserting that Bagram, the airbase in Afghanistan, is a wildlife refuge where there's debate over drilling in Alaska, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, ANWR. So you're hearing him say ANWR, that's that acronym. And now that I'm going to play it for you again, now knowing that Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, ANWR, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, he's getting these somehow two different places in the world, completely different concepts. He's smushed them together, and then he tries to save himself, acting like it's one point that he's trying to make. If everyone who watches the show who's not subscribed, just the viewers today who aren't subscribed, who are going to watch, click the subscribe button today, we'd hit 1 million subscribers. Pretty crazy based on the analytics. Do it. Thank you so much. Back to the video. Here it is again.
We don't need any energy from anybody. We didn't have to protect any other countries in order to get their oil, which we've done for many years in the Middle East. We were energy independent. Sounds so beautiful to say it. We were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant, and we would have been now having so much money coming out of the energy. We just have the best. We have Bagram in Alaska. They say it might be as big, might be bigger than all of Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this. Between Bagram, you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up. We should have that air base. We should have that oil. We would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest military air base in the world, and they left it in the dark of night with the lights on, and they did leave the dogs behind. There are a lot of people, they say, what about the dogs? They left the dogs behind. But
Are we still talking about Anwar or Bagram? Because you said Bagram was in Alaska. I'm really confused. Bagram's bigger than Saudi Arabia? That was the original point. And you can see his body starts to contort. We'll go back in a little bit and watch it again just so you can sort of observe all this. But as he starts to realize, wait, why am I saying go look up Bagram? Because I can tell you, you're going to be really confused if you start Googling Bagram oil drilling Alaska. It's going to get really confusing. Wow, let's watch a little more.
We would have been a much different country right now. But we're going to get it back, and I promise you we're going to get it back with guys like this and people like that. And, Sarah, just one thing, because this is the world's longest answer to an otherwise simple question, but the difference is I give an answer that's productive as opposed to an answer that...
If that's what you want to call it. And you can see Sarah Huckabee Sanders' face there, acting like she's having a good time. That definitely made sense. But she clearly is uncomfortable with what's going on. It does, unfortunately, remind me of this moment.
You know. By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, you know, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything? Deleted and destroyed all of it, because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about it.
So every time he said Nikki Haley, as I'm sure you're aware, he was trying to refer to Nancy Pelosi, but just some wires being crossed there, I guess. And not only is he saying something that shows he's getting very confused, he also is making a dishonest point because Nancy Pelosi doesn't have control over the National Guard. The president ultimately does. And then the way that he tried to save that past moment, if I were to go Bagram, you know Bagram in Alaska, Bagram, and then realize I was meaning Anwar and just completely different part of the world, completely different term, I just go, have I been saying Bagram? Sorry, I was thinking about a future point or past point that I was going to make about Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. What I'm really thinking of is Anwar, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. But instead, he always has to do this thing where he pretends like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Bagram, because the airbase is kind of like how we gave up the Anwar. We gave up different things, so it's all under the gave up umbrella, so it all kind of makes sense if you think about it. This was a similar attempt at saving one of these glitches.
As you know, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country is very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We beat Hillary Clinton. Now, you know, I used to call her Crooked Hillary. I'd say Crooked Hillary, but
This was the same speech where he said that Biden would lead us into World War II, which notably happened a little while ago, if my memory serves. And then Asen made an interesting point. Fox ran a promo graphic earlier in the day suggesting that they would be airing Trump's town hall, the one that I'm showing you clips from. At this point, they've only shown a few minutes of it. And specifically, you have Asen also pointing to this.
Never seen anything like it. It blows it away from 2016, from 2020. And basically, it's very simple. You're saying what? We're going to seal the border immediately. We're going to drill, baby, drill. You know, we're going to drill at a level. We're going to bring your energy prices down.
Joining me now, Judge Jeanine Pirro, co-host on The Five. We're going to dip back in to Trump's event with Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas as he addresses the second assassination attempt on his life. Judge, great to see you tonight, as always. So my angle is about the revenge and rage tour. And when you watched Hillary,
and there, I saw someone make the point aptly that Fox News, they want to help Trump. They really do. And lately, the way that they do that is by not showing a lot of him. Try to hide their viewers, or hide Trump from their viewers a little bit. They love summarizing things Trump said. Maybe I'll close this segment off with Trump child care. Let's see if we can set this up. Yes, we can. if they summarize the Trump childcare answer with, Trump talked about how he was looking to prioritize tariffs, but in so doing, bring in wealth to the United States that would facilitate such a lifestyle that childcare expenses would not be too much of a burden for Americans. Don't go watch the clip. That's definitely how he explained it. They would prefer to do that lately. And cutting out of his speeches, not showing them in full as they used to do, actually is the way they're helping him out. Because he's so discombobulated, as you just saw there, getting two concepts that are so far from each other mixed up, that it's helpful to maybe shield their viewers from that. So they can fall in love with the idea of Trump and not actually Trump. And because we're in this subject of the lack of functionality to the little Trump brain, I do think we should end on this.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, child care is child care. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you.
By the way, I haven't addressed that part since the full clip. Just playing it normally makes the point I'm trying to make. But that detail, remember when Trump says we'll have no deficits and he's promised again to start paying down our debt, he made that promise before he came into office in 2017 and blew up the debt more than any other president in American history.
About on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars. And as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again.
If you understand that, then wow, you've learned a different language than the one I was taught in school. Let's watch this one more time with all that context in mind, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they were energy independent. Sounds so beautiful to say it. We're energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant, and we would have been now having so much money coming out of the energy. We just have the best. We have Bagram in Alaska. They say it might be as big, might be bigger than all of Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this.
You can hear, I wish I could go. I know I don't actually wish this, but sometimes I wish I could go and look inside of his brain. Sort of, not the actual brain, but what's going on in his mind, sort of inside out, that sort of vibe. And you can hear there, he goes, Bagram, look it up. And a little comes out where it's his body going, that's not it. Anwar.
Got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this. Between Bagram, you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up We should have that air base. We should have that oil. We would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest air base, military air base in the world, and they left it.
Just admit you made a mistake. Why do you have to do this? No, it all connects. I'm saying Bagram, Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, Bagram in Alaska is because Afghanistan's like Bagram is Alaska with Anwar's Alaska, because Alaska, if you really think about Afghanistan, Alaska, connect those, add 3 minus 16 equals good point. Let me know what you thought of that. What? In the comments. Support the show by clicking the join button below and get your election-themed merch at lukebeasleymerch.com with the promo code Kamala.